artificial intelligence this week, and also EVs, but mostly AI. Every week now, it seems like there's more and more and more risk, danger, warnings for the employment market. What is it today? Sounds like a broken record. Well, it's not only or no other than the inventor of ChatGPT. This is the person who invented the most well-known AI platform. What does he say? Jobs are definitely going to go away. Advocates are fooling themselves if they think technology is only going to be good for workers. This is the inventor of it. And he doesn't even think it's going to be good for workers. Jobs are definitely going away. I'll bet you when you read that, it makes you think of something. You have an opinion. You have some kind of thought about that. Put it in the comments below. Well, not only is it obvious this is true from what this guy's saying, this is just a prediction, right? He may be an insider, but this is just a proposal. Well, if you're a news anchor in India, it's a reality. It's not hypothetical. It's not maybe. It's not, a projection, because now they have AI news anchors. From this article, it's clear that news presenters are in trouble. How much trouble? Well, we'll take a quick look at an example and you can see for yourself. Here is a news anchor in India. Over here on the left, that's the news anchor doing news stories, right? So it's not hypothetical. It's not in the future. It's happening right now that companies are using AI to replace employees, not actual humans. They're using AI to do this. In fact, it's such a big plan for many companies that some companies are hiring high-level executives. Netflix has a job where you can make almost $1 million a year to manage AI in their company. They have a job listing right now at Netflix for $900,000 for a job managing AI. That's $300 $3,500 a day. Actors are making $200. So the position pays an annual salary of $900,000 when many actors make $200 a day. It's a job posting for a machine learning platform product manager. So this is going to run the AI at Netflix. What does that tell you? If they're looking to pay that much money for somebody to run AI, it's not like the future isn't going to include artificial intelligence. They're planning on using this a lot if they want to hire a new position for it. So it could be actors, it could be newscasters. We're seeing it. You probably already saw it in fast food. Can AI replace humans? The Wall Street Journal went to fast food drive-thrus to find out. Chatbots are working in restaurants across the U.S. They put in 30 orders all across the country, and come to find out, it is good. How did it work? Pleasantly surprised on how well it worked in my test. Substitutions, hold the pickles, hold the onions, and order changes work without a hardy human bailing out the bot. Even when I blasted sounds of dogs barking and babies crying, the order was accurate. Can it really take over for humans? Restaurant managers say that the technology isn't going to replace workers, as it's going to make up for a lack of them. That's what the people in the restaurants are saying. But remember what this guy said. You're fooling yourself if it's going to be good for workers. Jobs are going away, right? So who do you believe? Are workers okay with bot colleagues? Some workers are okay with it as long as you still have a job. Is this the start of an AI-dominated dystopia? It's what's happening in other industries. On the other hand, you look as a way for big companies to lessen their dependence on lower paid employees and smooth the ups and downs. What does that mean? Cut costs. That's what that means. It's going to be a slow process, but it is going to happen. So what are your thoughts? even if your job or your business isn't directly related to AI or in that industry right now, do you think it's going to be at some point? Right? And if AI wasn't enough to worry about in your job, which apparently it is, uh, the Federal Reserve with interest rates is going to make some moves this week. They're going to make a big decision, probably raise rates a quarter point. And they're predicting it's going to be devastating for the economy, throw Americans out of work. So if AI isn't going to throw your job out of work, the Federal Reserve rate increase might throw your job out of work. And you wouldn't even know that's where it came from. You're just going to know that your company maybe can't afford as many employees, maybe doesn't want to have as many actual humans in their workforce, want to have AI, maybe streamline. What did they call it here? They called it smooth out the ups and downs, right? Isn't that what they called it? Well, anyways, they call it smooth out the ups and downs. That means cutting expenses. You think that's true? All right. So enough on AI for now. 6 minutes is plenty of time to talk about AI. I'm sure it'll come up again tomorrow, next day. Tune in to Describe TV. You will see AI happening in real life. You'll see the movie happening, unfolding right in front of your eyes. And don't say that it's a surprise, because all these things have been out there for months or years, really. Right? The guy, James Cameron, said last week, I warned you about this in 1984. So it's nothing new. What else is happening to the world that we live in? Well, one of the things that people want to know about is what's going on with electric vehicles. Am I going to have one? Well, it seems like here's another place or another example of where the powers that be, government, industry, is planning for a future including mostly or all AIs. Big automakers plan thousands of EV chargers. They're investing $1 billion with a B, kind of like Austin Powers, $1 billion. So General Motors, Honda, and Stellantis, which is, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge truck, Ram truck, companies investing in a joint venture. This is in addition to what Tesla already has. So if they're planning $1 billion worth of thousands of EV chargers, what does that tell you? It means they're planning on those being needed one way or another. Right now, people aren't falling over themselves buying these EVs at the dealerships. They're starting to back up and pile up on dealers' lots. But the dealers and the manufacturers, I should say the manufacturers, are going to put $1 billion. That's not chump change. They're putting it out there. Maybe they're thinking that you have to have the chargers in order to sell more. Maybe they're thinking, well, we know we're going to sell them one way or another, probably because we won't be selling gas vehicles. Stellantis, as we know, we talked about this a few weeks ago, already has said we are not shipping gas vehicles to dealers in some major states, 14 major states. More than half the population of the country live in states where there are no more gas vehicles from Stellantis, Jeeps, Dodge, Chrysler, right? So what do they know that we don't know? I think they know that it's all going to be EVs, whether you like it or not. Is that a good thing? Well, one of the risks is fire claims are turning EV project to ash. Lithium ion battery fires are casting a shadow over new technology. Here's a picture of one burned to the ground, right? Whatever you think about EVs or why they're catching on fire, this is a real thing. We had this in our queue for today to talk about the fires, and within moments after that, there was an article about a ship with Mercedes vehicles. The whole ship caught on fire. One guy on the boat died. Did it have to do with EVs? Well, if you read down here, there were 25 electric vehicles. One of the EVs may have caught on fire. Ship burned. Cars burned. Is that a thing? I don't know. Maybe it's something they'll fix. Maybe it's something they'll fix with time. sure you have an opinion about that too, don't you? You usually do. Our viewers usually have some pretty significant opinions about this. This is all has to do with your money, your job, what kind of car you have, what it's going to cost you to drive. All has to do with your money. One last thing about your money, which most people who have any money saved up for retirement. And yesterday we talked about how $1 million for retirement isn't enough. We did the math for you. Look at the video yesterday. We did the math. $1 million, you're coming up short on retirement, probably way short. So watch the video. But whether doesn't matter how much money you have, it also makes a difference where you have it. But what they're saying is stop contributing to IRAs and 401ks. We've talked about this before with 401ks. You put money into 401k, it sounds good because you get to save on taxes, right? If you take $500 a month, $400 a month, and you put it in your 401k, you don't pay tax on that money today. But it's a deferred tax bill. That's what people don't realize. We've talked about this before. Deferred tax bill. What does that mean? Because the balances increase on the amount, and you have to pay tax on the whole thing. Deferring the tax is a short-term savings. In the long run, if the retirement accounts grow, so will the tax bill, and the bill will be paid at a higher tax rate. Finally, somebody's picking up on this. We talked about this going back years, year and a half at least. How does it work? Well, if you take that $400 from your paycheck, put it into a 401k, you don't pay the tax on that 400. That's good. But as that 400 grows, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it might be worth 1,500, maybe 2,000. You know, in 20 years, it could be worth 3 times what it is today. Plus, your tax rate is going to be higher. Right now, you might have a tax rate of 17, 18, 20%. 20 years from now, the tax rates will probably be higher. You don't think tax rates are going to go down, do you? You think tax rates are going to be less in 2050 than they are today? Likely not. Do you think there's excess budget in the government that they can save you on taxes? If anything, the deficit's going up. So they're going to have to charge more taxes. So now, instead of, let's say, 20% even on $400, which would be $100 in taxes you would have paid, 25 years from now or 20 years from now, you're paying taxes on $1,600, and maybe you're paying 25%. 25% of $1,600 is $400 in taxes. So your entire original investment is wiped out. You only have $1,200. Now, granted, you still made $1,200, but is it better to go other ways? That's why this article is talking about Roth and some other options. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure you're calculating that tax potential loss or cost or expense into your projections for your retirement, because you're going to have a tax bill hanging over you have to pay when you least expect it. If you've built up $1 million in your 401k and that's what you're going to use for retirement, even that $1 million we talked about yesterday is going to be short. Did the math. You can watch that video. But now when it comes time to take it out, you don't have $1 million anymore. At 25%, you maybe have 750, which means you're even going to be more short than you thought. So don't count your chickens in your 401k until you can hatch them, because it's probably not going to be what you thought it was. As always, keep the comments coming, keep your emails coming so we know what you prefer to talk about. AI, EVs, finance, investments, investigations, those are the kind of things that we normally hear, but we want to make sure we're keeping up with what you're requesting.